On the surface, he is the handsome model student of a prestigious police academy. But behind the scenes, he is a ruthless executioner who hunts down and delivers judgment to criminals. While watching the news where politicians angrily denounce those who desecrate the law, the boy remains unfazed. His strange attitude immediately catches the attention of his nearby roommate. In the bathroom, the boy is happily washing his hair when his roommate sneaks up and mischievously pours more shampoo on his head. Seeing that the boy hasn't noticed yet, the roommate boldly increases the prank. Only then does the boy finally sense something's wrong. By day, he firmly upholds the law as a model police cadet. By night, he becomes a dark avenger, punishing those who exploit legal loopholes. To sharpen his skills for these punishments, Zhiyong often spars in jiu-jitsu with pros. At the moment, Shanshu is watching the news about a criminal escaping punishment through legal loopholes. When Zhiyong carelessly throws his bag at him, Shanshu is about to scold him, but when Zhiyong mentions the bathroom prank from earlier, Shanshu suddenly loses the mood to argue. Just then, another roommate invites Zhiyong to a nightclub, but Zhiyong refuses, saying he has important plans over the weekend. In the very next moment, he's seen behind an elderly woman collecting scrap, helping her pick up fallen boxes. Seeing such a kind young man, the old lady gratefully pulls out some candy from her pocket to thank him. However, as the news continues reporting how criminals evade punishment, Zhiyong's expression slowly turns cold. Dressed in black, he heads into a dark alley. At that time, two thugs try to harass a woman in broad daylight. The woman is terrified, but just as a board falls, the two men are suddenly seen lying on the ground, completely taken down. Meanwhile, a perverted doctor anesthetizes his patient and attempts to assault her. But at the most critical moment, Zhiyong appears and knocks the doctor out with a fierce punch, then injects the remaining drug into the doctor's own body. After warning him to change careers, he stomps on his hand. In that moment, Zhiyong feels a sense of emotional fulfillment. During a break, when Shanshu expresses his amazement at Zhiyong's mindset, Zhiyong calmly steals the basketball and continues playing with his classmates. After sinking the final shot, he collapses on the ground, his commitment to justice and judgment always locked in conflict. In the cafeteria, seeing criminals he previously punished, now claiming to be the real victims, makes Zhiyong furious. But when he receives heartfelt gratitude from the woman he saved, his heart finally begins to relax. As Shanshu complains that if he weren't a police cadet, he'd beat those criminals to a pulp, a roommate quickly hushes him. This is a police academy after all, and they must mind their conduct. Zhiyong quickly hides his injured hand under the table. But just as he begins targeting his next criminal, something unexpected happens. Zhiyong secretly sneaks into the professor's office to check some files, but ends up seeing a horrifying scene in a surveillance video. A delivery guy is simply unloading packages as usual, but while crossing the road, he's suddenly hit by a speeding truck. The driver quickly gets out to check, but after confirming that no one is around, he ignores the man's pleas for help and returns to his truck. Then he backs up and brutally runs over the injured man again, killing him on the spot. What enrages Zhiyong even more is that the court merely sentenced the driver to 1 year and 2 months, and the case was quickly closed. At that moment, Shanshu unexpectedly walks in. Seeing this, Shanshu kindly turns on the desk lamp for Zhiyong and sits down. As the two exchange glances, they both break into innocent smiles. After finishing their shooting practice during the day, Zhiyong retrieves the driver's home address through the documents and boards a bus to his destination. Meanwhile, the victim's mother confronts the driver's wife, demanding justice for her son, but the wife violently pushes her to the ground, arrogantly claiming that her husband already served his sentence and now she is legally innocent. Zhiyong, watching from nearby, can no longer hold back. He starts secretly tailing the driver, waiting for the right moment to strike. The driver, unaware, enters a bathhouse to relax, but suddenly a hand appears and forces his head underwater. He struggles to fight back, only to be shoved down again. At the same time, Zhiyong is once again helping the old scrap-collecting lady pick up her fallen boxes. Suddenly, he learns from the news that the truck driver has drowned. When the police arrive, they are shocked by the gruesome scene. Soon, the masked man selects his next target. The first is a wife who killed her husband for his insurance money. Despite her desperate pleas, the masked man shows no mercy. The second is a man who sexually assaulted a minor. Even though he tries to justify it as being under pressure, the masked man spares him no sympathy either. On the other side, Zhiyong reads in a book that the copycat killer is likely someone close to him. When he sees the masked man provocatively addressing him on TV, Zhiyong becomes visibly upset. Shanshu, nearby, also notices his reaction. On the basketball court, as Zhiyong observes Shanshu closely, he realizes his roommate might be deliberately mimicking his actions. And then, in the next second, by day, Zhiyong is a cold and noble police cadet. By night, he is a masked avenger, punishing society's scum. But what he didn't expect was that someone around him would begin imitating his actions. As Shanshu finishes dressing and prepares to leave, Zhiyong immediately puts on his headphones to watch news about himself. The politician's inaction toward legal loopholes only fuels his resolve to continue delivering justice. In a narrow alley, the old scrap-collecting lady unintentionally blocks a man's path, angering him. He presses on the gas pedal and runs her over. This scene is witnessed by a nearby young man. As he confronts the driver, he gets pushed aside. Furious, the young man retaliates, attacking him. But shockingly, the police send the man who was attacked to the hospital, while the Good Samaritan is arrested for assault. Seeing the lady's cart and the scattered candy on the ground on TV, Zhiyong completely breaks down. Shanshu is also furious at how the police handled the situation. Late that night, both are haunted by what happened to the old lady. After retrieving the attacker's personal information, Zhiyong boards a bus to find him. Meanwhile, a roommate once again invites Shanshu to unwind at a nightclub, but Shanshu sternly refuses. The next moment, however, neither of them notices the icy look creeping onto their faces. At the same time, the attacker's older brother visits the old woman's home to discuss compensation, unaware that only a paralyzed old man lives there. When he returns to his office, in the very next second, Zhiyong strikes with full force. After knocking the man out with a chokehold, Zhiyong distracted the patrolling officer and entered the patient's room carrying a case of drinks. Without hesitation, he forced a bottle into the man's mouth and coldly warned him, unless he requested the maximum sentence from the judge, his next judgment would be far worse. Meanwhile, the officer returned to the parking lot and found his car untouched, only then realizing they'd been played. An emergency response team rushed upstairs. In a hallway, the search team captain unexpectedly ran into Zhiyong, now disguised in a white coat. Before the captain could verify his identity, he saw the injured man being attacked by what appeared to be a security enforcer. Only then did he realize they'd been infiltrated. He immediately ordered a full sweep of the hospital, but by then, all security cameras had already been destroyed. Zhiyong, who had just entered the stairwell to escape, was chased by the captain. Thinking quickly, he removed the white coat and changed back into his usual clothes. When the captain reached the exit, Zhiyong was already gone. Back in the hospital, the injured man noticed the drink Zhiyong had left. As he moved closer to inspect it, he was suddenly thrown from the upper floor to the ground below. The shocking scene caused a stir, with people rushing over. At that moment, Zhiyong noticed a masked man descending on a rope, trying to escape in a vehicle. Without thinking, he sprinted after the car. Zhiyong had once been the most handsome and respected cadet in the police academy, but after repeatedly taking justice into his own hands, he had attracted the attention of a deranged, powerful tycoon. The two finally faced each other on a rooftop. Sensing Zhiyong's wariness, the tycoon confessed that he had been covering for him all this time. But Zhiyong didn't believe a word and attacked him. Terrified, the tycoon fought back, warning him that he'd eventually be arrested unless he teamed up with him. Zhiyong calmly replied that he wasn't hunting for sport, but delivering his own form of justice. The tycoon, now completely without moral boundaries, nearly fell off the roof during their fight. Later, Zhiyong stared at his own reflection in a bathroom mirror, his face bruised, while receiving a message from the tycoon offering to handle things for him. Zhiyong ignored it. The next day, the tycoon, ecstatic, went to work. When his male secretary offered to treat his wounds, he refused, learning instead that a female journalist might have captured footage of Zhiyong's face. Determined to handle it himself, he went to see her. But the journalist turned out to be helping the law enforcement group. She watched as the tycoon quietly removed the USB drive containing the footage and walked out. Meanwhile, Zhiyong ran into the search team captain again at the academy, which made him nervous. Only after the captain left did Zhiyong breathe a sigh of relief. As the tycoon bombarded him with tempting offers, Zhiyong began to waver. But just then, his roommate brought news that the captain had finally found dirt on the rogue enforcer. Zhiyong forced a smile to cover up his concern. However, his injured face caught the attention of a professor. Despite his best efforts to lie, the professor didn't believe him. At that moment, someone announced that police were looking for Zhiyong. Tension rose, only to be relieved when it turned out to be a female student, thanking him for saving her earlier. When the professor learned the wounds came from that incident, he had no further objections. Unbeknownst to them, this was orchestrated by the tycoon, who smiled to himself while staring at a tarot card. The fool. Haunted by the tycoon's warnings and shaken by his run-in with the captain, Zhiyong finally picked up his phone. The tycoon, playing with his RC car at home, rolled with excitement upon receiving Zhiyong's message agreeing to meet. Rest of the story will be covered in next part. Until then, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe.